But he got a flag down.
Oofside.
Everyone but the center. Offense.
Welcome to Oofsides. The preseason is over. Who are you people?
Football.
I'm also football.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie, not my best intro, but I don't care. We're here to finish talking about what we decided not to because we didn't want to do a 4-hour long podcast. Yeah. How are you guys doing today?
Feeling pretty good.
Better than I did last Tuesday.
The big news that came out of today, if we want to start off with that. The biggest news dropped about half an hour ago by Tom Pelissero. Quarterback Mike White is signing with the Buffalo Bills on their practice squad.
Oh, baby. Us
So-
Mike White supremacists continue to just rack up dubs.
And Jack isn't even here to talk about it.
Yeah.
That Mike White power.
Now he will now have played for 3/4 of the AFC East. He will only have the Patriots left to go.
Just give it time.
Give it a few weeks once Brissett gets hurt again and Drake May's out for the season, and then they'll sign him.
Yeah, no fucking kidding. Help.
Also, don't mind me. I totally forgot to set up the pick'ems sheet for week 1,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
those.
I'm gonna fix it. Or sorry, pick they thems, not pick'ems. But yeah, how do we do? Do we just want to jump right into this? Do we have any housekeeping to do beforehand?
I don't need to sweep the floor or anything, do I?
Not with that attitude.
Well,
I don't know where
you're
I'm
the
going
one with the
this
maid outfit, so.
It's not a maid outfit; it's a schoolgirl outfit.
And the fact that you can tell the difference, just put it on, okay?
One is French, the other is Japanese. Get it right.
I don't care. Put it on.
Okay. Joe won't let me wear that on Fake Racers, by the way.
Have you tried? Like, you
Uh,
go to
I
start
did.
and you turn on your camera and you're just wearing it?
He's like, no, go change. No, we recorded a show the day before Halloween, 2 years ago, and I was like, we should all dress up in costume, and he was like, you're not wearing the schoolgirl outfits. Yeah, I do like that our non-Fake Racers projects that we do, we're just kind of trying to slip it by Joe. Hopefully he doesn't notice us doing this. Anyway, let's throw it over to the dues. Starting with some coaching changes that we didn't talk about.
Covered all the actual head coaching changes and all that stuff for the new teams, but some guys that are no longer in NFL coaching positions are now in other places, starting with Bill O'Brien, who of course came back to the Patriots as their offensive coordinator last year. Well, with Jeff Hafley headed off to the Packers, Bill O'Brien is now the new head coach at Boston College. So Dorchester native, pretty cool to see that. Hopefully he can elevate the BC program to a higher place than it's been in the last 15 years. But hey, you never know. Maybe it's a start of something cool. And staying with the Patriots, Steve Belichick, who of course was working under his dad for X amount of years, is now the defensive coordinator at the University of Washington under their new head coach. So interesting to see how that goes and how Belichick will perform without his dad above him. And lastly, Eric Bieniemy, who was the offensive coordinator last year for the Commies, is now at UCLA as their offensive coordinator in the Big Ten. So we'll have to see how they do in year 1 in a new conference. That's still fucking wrong. I don't care what you say. That never should have happened.
Do you remember 2 years ago when everybody was like, why is Eric Bieniemy never getting considered for a head coaching job? And then he left Andy Reid, and I mean, not entirely his fault, but it was a butt-ass commies offense last year that he was in charge of, and now he's out of the league. And it's kind of crazy.
There were flashes last year, but it could never be consistent for more than 2 quarters straight.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Also from supposed inside talks, he's not a very nice guy.
Yeah, I have heard that as well. That he is kind of
he had some troubles in the 90s. I don't think he's done anything since, but you know.
Did you speaking of that, because I don't see it anywhere in our news thing. Did you guys hear anything about Tua talking about Brian Flores recently?
I did see
Oh yeah,
that.
I did see that.
Yeah. I will say I do like Brian Flores' response to that, where he was just like, yeah, I mean, I should probably be better about that, shouldn't I? And
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? It's pretty cool. You don't
That's the
usually
best
see
way
that
to
from,
do it.
yeah, especially from like a former Belichick guy, where it's like Matt Patricia's telling a reporter to sit up straight, and then Brian Flores is like, maybe I shouldn't be an asshole.
Matt Patricia reminds me of those substitute teachers in high school that would try and demand respect out of kids, and it always backfired.
Yeah,
It's like, bro, we don't know who you are.
we so when I was in 7th or 8th grade, I can't remember which one, we had one of our teachers, he like had to take over as principal for I think a different school in the district, something like that. So we had like a permanent sub for like the last 3 months of the semester. And the first one we had, nobody liked. And I mean, we were also kind of pieces of shit to her, but she also sucked. And she got fired because she called a kid in my class a waste of space and air. And then wasn't there on Monday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Straight to the point. God damn.
Yeah. So, love me some substitute teachers.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was UCLA hiring Eric Bieniemy as their OC. Also, we had a lot of notable retirements, and we'll just let Dewey jump into that.
Just run down the list.
Dewey's carrying the water for this week.
Yeah, there were quite a few. We covered some of them last week. Obviously, the most notable being Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox no longer being on the Eagles, both of whom have very strong Hall of Fame cases, at least to me. Matthew Slater, of course, the longtime special teamer for the Patriots, retired after last year. He should be in the Hall of Fame. We'll see if he is, but genuinely one of the greatest special teamers the league has ever seen. Also, Aaron Donald, we covered that last week. First ballot Hall of Famer, no longer on the Rams. Teddy Bridgewater had a bit of a journeyman career after his injury with the Vikings. He called it quits after last year. I think he would be a pretty good quarterbacks coach for some.
Oh, yeah. He'd just be a good coach in general.
Yeah. Sean Mannion also backed up Kirk Cousins for a while at the Vikings. Rex Burkhead, Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. James Ferentz, Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. Ryan Jensen, Super Bowl champ with the Bucks. David Blau, who of course did some stuff. He ended up joining the Commanders' coaching staff on top of retiring, so good for him, I guess.
Us Blauhards will have to we'll recover from this.
Malcolm Butler, who of course made one of the most famous interceptions in the history of the NFL, and then was infamously benched for another Super Bowl, also retiring after last year. Leighton Vander Esch, this one is honestly a shame because he had a lot of potential with the Cowboys, but just had a lingering injury that never went away, and that one sucks.
It was his neck, wasn't it?
I think so.
His prime was so brief, but like the way people talk about Micah Parsons now, that was Leighton Vander Esch 5 years ago. Like he was gonna be the new face of the Cowboys defense, and then like with injury setting in, he just became like a really good like second or third string linebacker, and then he's just never been able to stay healthy after that, unfortunately. So
yeah. Another one that I think would end up being a very good coach, though, obviously with the talent that he had.
Yeah.
Damian Harris, of course. Matt Ryan, who didn't play last year, was doing coverage for CBS, but he officially retired after last season. Duke Johnston.
I was gonna say, didn't one of the teams that had quarterback problems like reach out to Matt Ryan last year? And I think he said no.
Did, yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but he turned him down.
Corey Linsley, who is a longtime center for the Chargers, and a notable stat that I want to bring up about Corey Linsley, his last sack allowed was in his career. He played up until the end of last year, but the last sack he allowed was in Week 10 of 2020, he had 1,572 snaps without a sack to end his career.
That is nuts. Holy
Wow.
shit.
Dude was really fucking good. This one was random, but Darren Waller retired too. And, like, he, like, divorced his wife and then retired right after. And it was like, the fuck just happened?
I have to imagine maybe it's some kind of lingering injury, because I think it was last year he went to the Giants, and he was supposed to be the receiving threat that kind of pushed them over, and then that just never happened. And I mean, he looked nothing like he did for the Raiders when he had his real prime years. So I think something physically was up with him.
We were gassing up that move too, with how much the Giants took a leap in 2022. And it's like, holy shit, they just got one of the best tight ends in the league on top of that, and then it all went wrong.
Yeah.
But another guy like Leighton Vander Esch, where his prime was brief, but it was fun to watch when he had it.
Oh yeah.
Randall Cobb, longtime Packers receiver that later became a journeyman, called it a career after 1 year with the Jets. Kenyon Drake, Shaq Barrett, who signed with the Dolphins this offseason but then called it quits. Tariq Cohen, who was trying to come back from that Achilles tear he had 2 years ago. Another one that's a shame, because he had a lot of talent too, especially on that 2018 Bears team, and just couldn't come back.
Did you ever see what happened to Tariq Cohen?
I remember him hurting something else while training or something.
It was while he was a free agent because of injury, and he was on Instagram Live and tore his Achilles while live streaming.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I think we went over that when it happened.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, just brutal. Also, Tariq Cohen, he's only like 5'4", isn't he?
I don't know if he's that short, but I think he's relatively short for an NFL
He's
player.
5'6".
Oh, okay.
Wow.
He's still shorter than me. Yeah, short king. So
another one that signed in the offseason but then retired, Sadiq Charles, who went to the Titans to bolster their offensive line, said fuck this and retired like 2 weeks into the preseason, I think. So Nick Foles, of course, Big Dick Nick, now an NFL alumnus, of course, had the Super Bowl over the Patriots and the 7-touchdown game in 2013. Goes out. Was he the Chiefs' back? I think it was the Chiefs' backup quarterback last year, if I remember right.
I can't remember if he was.
I think he might have been.
Wasn't he on the... Or no, he wasn't on the Colts. No, he was on the Colts 2 years ago.
Oh, that's right. I thought he played last year. He didn't. He was on the Chiefs way before. Either way, called it a career.
I recently rediscovered an old YouTube comment of mine. It was on an NFL Top 10 where it was their one-shot wonders episode. And I commented this in 2017 about how 2016, where Nick Foles would be a really good one for that, because that 2013 season where he just came out of nowhere and was a Pro Bowl level quarterback. Nick Foles is a 4-hit wonder at this point, and it's kind of crazy because everywhere he's gone, he has that moment where you're like, holy shit, and then he just goes back to being Nick Foles. Because you have, the Super Bowl run, obviously. Then you have when he comes in for Carson Wentz again the next year. You have in 2020, I think it was, when he replaced Mitch Trubisky, mid-game, led him on a ridiculous comeback. And then I think it was at the end of the next year, Justin Fields got hurt, and he came in a snow game against the Seahawks and led a crazy comeback in that one. He just occasionally pops up and is like, hey guys, remember when I won that Super Bowl? Hell yeah. And then...
I still wonder what he would have done with the Jags if he didn't get hurt in his first game there.
Yeah, there was so much talent on that team still at the time.
It basically jump-started Gardner Minshew's career because he ended up starting most of that season. But when he signed with the Jags, it was a really big contract, and he was coming off of that second run with the Eagles, and I really wondered what he could have ended up doing. And it's a shame we never got to see it. But honestly, still a pretty solid career overall. Still it's still a Super Bowl winning quarterback at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can't tell the story of the NFL without him.
Yep. So. And lastly, Tavon Austin, who last played in 2021, officially retired after this offseason. One of the most electrifying players I think I've ever seen in NFL or college. If you look at video compilations of him at West Virginia with Geno Smith. It is fucking unbelievable some of the stuff he was able to do. Like, just one of the most fun players to watch.
I was gonna say he was during those late Jeff Fisher Rams teams, like him and Todd Gurley were like the one thing to really look forward to on those teams.
Yeah. And then Corey Davis, who retired after 2022, applied for reinstatement, and he's back. I don't think he's signed with anybody yet, but he's trying to play again. So, cool for him, I guess. He last
played for the Jets, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Jets signed him to a pretty substantial contract, then he just retired after one season.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
It's like, wait a second, I'm on the Jets. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. And then our in memory of section, because we did lose some pretty notable people. Vontae Davis, who of course famously retired at halftime while playing for the Bills in 2018. He passed away back in April. O.J. Simpson, of course. I mean, say what you want about O.J. Simpson and what he did after his career ended, but from a purely
what did he do? What did O.J. Simpson do?
Had some run-ins with the law, nothing too serious.
Yeah, just a couple. But like, from just a purely football standpoint, one of the greatest running backs the NFL has ever seen. One of the greatest college running backs that's ever been seen. Heisman Trophy winner, like 5-time Pro Bowler, led the league in rushing 4 times. Just, again, say what you want about him, but just an incredible football player.
Well, I think one of the things that justifiably gets forgotten in history is that O.J. Simpson was like a widely beloved just celebrity in general. Like he was in I think it was all of the Naked Gun movies or a bunch of them. Like he had genuine like genuine comedic chops. So when what happened, it like shocked everybody to their core.
It was like a slap in the face to everybody that was a fan of him, really.
Yeah.
2,000 yards in 14 games is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see that again.
No. There was a so quick tangent. There's a story one of the guys on Beef Boys was talking about after O.J. Simpson died, where he was listening to like Sirius XM radio or whatever, and the guy was talking about like, yep, O.J. Simpson died this week, and he like read off all of his career accolades and everything that he achieved, and he was like, yeah, pretty good life, unless he did it, and then just went hard into the next song.
If he did it.
Yeah.
I'm still holding out hope that the last tweet he ever made, he scheduled a tweet like a year in advance that just says, yeah, I did it.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. That quote by him, too, where he's like talking about walking around in LA, and he's like, yeah, man, he could be anywhere out here. Who knows?
What gets me is the hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy gets you. I thought it was the murder.
Dewey, you really should have gotten that jersey when you were out here.
I was just thinking the same thing.
There's a baseball card place out here that has an autographed OJ jersey.
Oh no!
I never asked what how much it cost, but I saw it and it was in a really big frame, and I was like, man, it'd be funny if I bought that.
See, well, I was gonna say Weaver has the Juices Loose flag, so you wouldn't be the only one. But see, there's at least some ambiguity.
A lot more now, though.
There's at least some ambiguity with O.J. Simpson. You guys don't have an autographed Rick Crawford diecast, so
yeah. Good luck getting rid of that.
I don't know what to do with it. Like,
good fucking luck with that. Oh no.
So yeah. Anyway, back to the memory of.
Yeah. Moving on, we also lost one of the greatest offensive linemen in the history of the NFL in Larry Allen. And if you've never seen his tackle against the Saints on an interception, you need to look it the fuck up. Pause this podcast.
I was just about to ask about
Look it up and fucking watch it, because it is one of the greatest plays I've ever seen a football player make.
A man that big should not move that fast.
Dude, he's got wheels. He's so fast.
He put the fucking Jets on.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that play is a classic one. It's that one, and it's oh god, who was it who Vinatieri ran down on a punt return? I want to say it
Oh,
was Deion Sanders, but
maybe
yeah,
that
that
in the Keith Trailer interception.
yes,
I love the Keith Trailer one,
yeah.
but
Sid
again in all
Champ
time.
Bailey, I think.
Oh yeah, it
That's
was
the only
Benjamin
other run I
Watson
can
on
think
Champ
of.
Bailey.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
In 05.
Yeah.
Yeah, in all time offensive tackle. Monty Kiffin also longtime defensive coordinator, the architect of the Tampa 2 defense that the Bucks won the Super Bowl with in 2002. Of course, the father of Lane Kiffin. Another one, and this one also was incredibly sad. The Vikings drafted Kyrie Jackson from, I think it was Oregon this year, to be their new starting cornerback, and he passed away in a car accident about a month ago. That was
Yeah.
not his fault, and that one, like, for that to happen before your career even starts is just like
That's tragic.
really, really sad. And Jacoby Jones, who had the famous kickoff return touchdown to begin the second half of the Ravens-Niners Super Bowl, had a long career with them as well as the Texans and the Chargers.
He had
And
that
lastly,
famous overtime catch against the Broncos that year too, didn't he? I
yeah.
think. Yeah. Huge
And then
part of that
lastly,
Super Bowl run.
He was the one that Mike Tomlin, right?
Yes, that was
That's
that was him. Fucking Mike Tomlin.
Oh man, I totally did not know I was standing on the field. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. And then lastly, the Ravens offensive line coach Joe D'Alessandris passed away a couple days ago. He was their O-line coach since 2017 and had been in college in the NFL for over 45 years. So rest in peace to all of those that we lost, and condolences to their families and friends and teammates.
Yep.
We also had some rule changes this year, some of which are very interesting and have already seen play out a couple times. The hip drop tackle, which was super controversial last year, was officially banned, so you can't do that anymore. It's now a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down if it is flagged.
This is I don't know how to feel about this one, because it seems like one of those things, like roughing the passer, that is going to be very much up to interpretation.
Yeah.
Because, like, for those who don't know, the hip drop tackle is basically like where you grab somebody and then you basically like fall on your back and bring them down with you, and you usually land on their leg and or ankle, and it leads to a lot of broken legs and fucked up knees and rolled ankles and things like that. But how much of that is physics and how much of that is just like an intentional act? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a freak thing, but like,
Yeah. It's one thing like when they banned where there was the guy in the Eagles who'd always grab people by like the back of their collar and rip them down backwards, like while they were running. This is, I feel like, much more of a gray area. I guess we'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't end up being super controversial, because like trying to mitigate injuries is, I think, what we all want, but you just never know.
Yet this one has the feeling of one where actual hip drop tackles are going to end up being missed sometimes, and ones that aren't are going to be called when they shouldn't be, and it's going to end up affecting the outcome of games.
Yeah.
Just
I hope it doesn't, but
just removing things that the defense can do at this point. I just don't know how far you can go with it before the defense just can't do anything, and it's just going to end up being a 100% offensive game.
It's flag football now. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of flag football, just a quick tangent. Did you see that one guy that was like, I guess, a U.S. flag football player that was trying to say that he'd be a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes in a flag football game?
He said Patrick Mahomes doesn't know the intricacies of flag football.
He literally said that about the guy that threw a pass behind his back to Travis Kelce in a preseason game last week.
Oh, okay. I'm really glad you mentioned that, because this was a quip that I wanted to make and I forgot to write down when we were talking about that. I found the perfect way to describe the kind of football that the Chiefs are playing. It's jazz football. It's just 11 dudes all just kind of freestyling, and it just works.
They got the perfect guy to lead them.
Yeah, they're just doing jazz football.
Just get open.
Pretty much.
No more routes. Just get open.
And then
We're not running 4 verts. We're running 10 verts.
Don't even need pass protection anymore. Fuck it, he down there somewhere.
Exactly.
The trade deadline was also moved from the end of week 8 to the end of week 9. A very minuscule change, but I guess you got one more week to trade away your favorite player now, if you want to do that.
It's an improvement. I think it should still be later. But yeah, moving in the right direction.
Another smaller change, teams can now elevate a practice squad quarterback to be the emergency third quarterback for a game instead of having to keep them on the active roster. I think that's a good change to make.
Good move.
Agreed.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And then the most notable changes have to be with the kickoffs, which have taken some getting used to, but after watching it, I honestly don't mind it that much. All players on the kicking team, except the kicker, obviously, have to line up at the 40. The receiving team can have a max of 2 returners, and the rest of the team have to be between their own 30 and 35. And no player on either team can move until the ball hits the ground, hits the play, or goes into the end zone. So you're basically just like frozen in place until somebody or something makes contact with the ball. If the kick has to land between the 20-yard line and the end zone, if it's short of the 20, will be called like a kick out of bounds. It'll be placed at the 40, and if it results in a touchback, it's placed at the 30. So it's a bunch of new rules to like emphasize returns to make the actual play more exciting again, and trying to penalize kickers that just kick it through the back of the end zone. Like, I like some of it. I kind of don't. Still needs some getting used to, but I don't know.
I think it's a good change because kickoffs were basically just injury generators for the last couple years. If you can actually add good returns to it. I hate spring football, but watching how they try to do kickoffs in the UFL and XFL and yada 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 made it more exciting than just an opportunity to go grab a piss while the team changes possessions.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. You know, it was injury generators, and then they tweaked the rules to where there was just never a return, and it was like, what's even the fucking point then?
Yeah.
And like the Super Bowl didn't have a single kick return, not a single ball was returned. And I think at that point everybody was like, okay, this got to change, you know.
Yeah.
So I like that they've at least done something to make it a play again. And if, you know, there'll be tweaking of the rules, I think they'll get this working fine. But the fact that the kickoff is a thing again, and we have potential to see, you know, these kicks run back, I think it's good. And I think it's safer than it used to be. So I'm all for it.
It's a shame, though, that it seems like when the NFL does one good thing like that, they also take a step back with something else, because as good of a change as this seems to be, they've completely nerfed the onside kick now.
Yeah.
So for those that may not have seen the specifics of it, all onside kicks now have to be declared in advance by the kicking team, so you can't just surprise somebody with an onside kick anymore. They are now entirely limited to only being in the fourth quarter, and you can only do it if you're losing. So like when the Saints did it to start the second half of the Super Bowl, you can't do that anymore. Which sucks.
Or
that was awesome.
The Lions did that when they played the Rams in 2021. They onside kicked the opening kickoff.
Yeah, that's rockstar shit.
Who was it that had him down with science? Was that Younghoe Koo?
Yeah, Younghoe Koo is
basically broke him for everybody.
Yeah, an onside kicking machine. Well, because that was the season that his car got broken into and somebody stole his cleats, and like literally he was like, I just want my cleats back, man. That I need those. Yeah. So, that sucks. You know, rather than fix the onside kick, just make it less of
broke it.
Yeah, that sucks.
So I will not be surprised at all if there is not a single successful onside kick this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's already become such a rarity, and then you remove any and all like ambiguity from it and any sense of like surprise. It's yeah, it sucks.
The Chiefs are gonna still make one work in the AFC Championship.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't
They'll
say
find a way.
that. Don't fucking say that. Because that's exactly the type of shit that would happen too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that
before, oh, go ahead.
no.
Okay. Sure, man. And then before we get into more of the preseason and training camp news and stuff, we should probably go through the notable draft picks that happened because they did happen.
Yeah, only 4 months late.
Yeah, our timing isn't great, but you know what? It's still not week 1 yet, so we can get away with it.
Yeah.
Starting, of course, with the Bears doing what everybody thought they were going to do, picking Caleb Williams, number 1. Of course, won the Heisman in 2022. Arguably the best quarterback in this draft.
Makes sense too.
Jaden Daniels, the most recent Heisman winner, going number 2 to the Commies. And the Patriots picking a quarterback in the first round or in the top 5 for the first time since Drew Bledsoe, taking Drake May number 3.
I do want to say real quick. So the top 2, like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, both expected to be day 1 starters, and they will be. Drake May was drafted as like he's gonna sit for a year because he hasn't played that much in college, if I recall correctly. And learn behind Jacoby Brissett, and maybe we'd see him like week 15. And then he was looking really, really good in preseason. And everybody was like, okay, maybe we'll bump that up a little bit. And now Jake Briskett's hurt, so we might be seeing Drake May week 1 starter as well.
This is
At this point, throw him into the fire.
This is just it's I don't know what to think because like I watched all 3 preseason games, and the game the other night against the Commanders, he looked really, really good. Like,
Yeah.
especially the one play where he like rolled out to his left. This didn't count because the offensive line sucks and got a penalty. But he rolled out to his left, threw the ball like 40 yards downfield across his body to a wide open KJ Osborne for what would have been a touchdown. And it was like, man, it's been about, I don't know, 6 years since the Patriots have had a quarterback capable of making a play like that. And it was actually refreshing to see it. Again, obviously it didn't count because the offensive line can't protect fucking anything. And that's the concern I have is like he clearly outplayed Jacoby Brissett, but at the same time it's like if the offensive line is going to be that bad, do you really want to risk putting your franchise quarterback out on the field in week 1 and risking him getting hurt that quickly? Because that's the only thing I see happening.
Yeah.
It's a similar situation to what happened in 2020 with Joe Burrow, where they just throw him right out there behind an O-line that can't protect him, and he ends up blowing his knee out and missing the whole season.
So what you're saying is they have to sign a meat shield first, which was supposed to be Brissett, but now they have to find somebody else?
Well, definitely got to find somebody else because Bailey Zappi did not survive final roster cuts. So
You got
anybody
zapped.
else on the depth chart?
it is Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, and Joe Milton.
Oh, that's right. Fuck it. Throw Joe Milton out there. Let him break his leg and then put Drake May.
Joe Milton, by the way, for anybody that didn't watch any of those preseason games, has a fucking cannon of an arm.
Also, his picture on Wikipedia is him wearing a shirt that says Reese's University on it.
What?
I don't know.
That was one of those NIL things.
His hat says Panini on it as well. It's just a whole lot of food going on right now.
Awesome.
Damn, okay.
There was a play the other night too where like Joe Milton had come into the game and he dropped back and it looked like he just like barely flicked his wrist and the ball went like 50 fucking yards down the right sideline. It was unbelievable. It was picked off but negated because of a penalty, but I was like, I've never seen a guy just so effortlessly throw the ball that far.
Wait, Joe Milton's picture on Wikipedia is a screenshot from a video.
What?
It's a screenshot. Like,
oh my gosh.
No way.
That's what I love about Wikipedia. You can't use portraits, so they just have to. They got to do something.
They do. So yeah, I don't know what the Patriots are gonna do. Again, obviously Drake May played better, but I don't know if you want to risk putting your long-term guy behind a Swiss cheese offensive line. So I guess we'll see what Gerard Mayo says later this week. But the Cardinals obviously were already set at quarterback, so they took the best receiver in the draft at 4, Marvin Harrison. Chargers picked the best tackle in the draft, Joe Alt, at 5, which is great news for Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and I mean the Chargers are going to run the ball 86 times a game anyway, so.
Malik Neighbors going to the Giants at 6 was interesting. I didn't think he'd be taken that high, but the Giants bit the bullet and took him. The Titans went tackle with J.C. Latham at 7. And then
there's the Falcons.
The Falcons, it's been 4 months now, but I still can't believe they did this. Signing Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal for all that money, and then spending their first-round pick on Michael Penix Jr.
But it was worth it to get rid of Desmond Ridder.
Oh, Michael Penix Jr. I've been waiting to make that joke for like 4 months. So this is one of the weirdest moves in the draft. I do want to start off. I like Michael Penix a lot.
As do I.
Yeah, I think he can be a very good NFL quarterback. Him being taken at 8th in the draft is not a problem. The weird thing is it's the Falcons. Because like what you mentioned, they have Kirk Cousins signed to a 4-year deal. Realistically, it's a 2-year deal. So you could look at it and be like, okay, Penix is going to ride the bench for 2 years, and then he'll become the starter in 2026. And he'll be pushing 27 years old by that point, which is an odd decision.
But not only that, it's like if you're banking on Kirk Cousins spending the last 2, maybe 3 years of his really good abilities to be on your team, and to have him for it, why don't you take that first-round pick and use it on maybe a lineman or a skill position player that he can throw the ball to,
or a pass rusher that they've been needing desperately for 10 years now.
The Bears took Rome Odunze right behind him at number 9. Why didn't the Falcons take him and give Kirk Cousins a deep ball threat down the field to pair up with Drake London?
And I have heard the quote by their GM who was talking about this. I think it was to Rich Eisen, where he was basically saying, we are not picking or planning on picking this high for anytime soon, because they're expecting to be good with Kirk Cousins. And their justification is sort of when you have a guy who is, right there, sometimes just taking the best player available is the play. And you can look at that, prime example is that Patrick Mahomes fell to 10th in the draft. And I know they traded up to get him, but the Chiefs had a quarterback at the time, and they were like, this guy's too good to pass up, even if we don't have a spot for him right now. All that makes sense in a vacuum. But, Penix is entering the draft as a pretty old, they're not old, but an older rookie quarterback already. So, you're pushing him to, back half of his 20s and almost into his 30s by the time he finally becomes a starter, which is odd. If you wanted to take a quarterback in the first round, you think it would have been, trade down and take I don't know, Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy or one of these guys who maybe doesn't have the same upside as the top 2 or 3 guys who were drafted, and let them learn behind Kirk Cousins. It's just odd,
Well, you have to remember Kirk Cousins is also coming off an injury.
Yeah, that too.
There's no guarantee that leg is 100%. It could go again, and then they'd be thankful to have Penix since they could throw him right in immediately, Bledsoe and Brady.
That is the variable in all of this is what if Kirk Cousins isn't the same? All of a sudden, this looks like a brilliant move. But as it stands right now, it's very odd.
Yeah. Mentioned before, Bears took Rome Odunze, who happened to be Michael Penix's top receiver at Washington, right behind him at 9. So to pair him with Caleb Williams, the Bears had a very good first round in this draft. Agreed. And then the Vikings traded up to 10 to take J.J. McCarthy, who, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit it. I gave this move a lot of fucking shit when it happened, but he looked really good in the preseason when he played.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously
really
he's going to be
good.
out for the whole season now, and he'll have to rehab that injury and come back next year. But what we did see of him, honestly, like put my concern to rest of why they took him when they did.
Yep. Also, the Jets took Olu Fashanu, an offensive tackle. I wonder why, with their 11th pick in the draft.
Yeah. And then, the Broncos picking Bo Nix at 12.
So, this is what happens when you're desperate. And again, no disrespect to Bo Nix. He's looked pretty solid in the preseason so far, and there are some pros to him. Like, Bo Nix has started more college games than anybody else in the history of college football. So he is thoroughly battle tested, which is good. But the Broncos very much would have liked to have taken a quarterback in the second round. Bo Nix probably would have fallen to late first round, early second round had they not taken him. Actually, not the Raiders are right behind him, but still, they could have got somebody right to be kind of an interim starter, or just somebody to take a flyer on. But they don't have a second round pick, and I think they have a late third rounder is all they have. So they kind of just
got backed into a corner.
Yeah, and so they just had to take Bo Nix because they need a quarterback, and they don't have one coming this year. Also, I'm looking. Yeah, their next pick is pick 76. So
I don't think they expected the run of quarterbacks that happens to also happen either.
Yeah, I think
I don't think anybody saw Bo Nix he was basically like the lowest rated of like the 6 big guys. I don't think anybody saw him going at 12 and him being the last of them to go.
Yeah. Well, and one of the big things too was that, like, I've heard a lot of Vikings fans say that, like, oh, Penix was going to be our guy. I'd never heard that the Vikings were looking at Penix. The only team in the first round that I heard any buzz about drafting him was the Raiders, which fit ridiculously well. And I'm kind of sad about that. But yeah, so I think that pick kind of screwed the whole thing up, because they were looking at it like, yeah, we're going to get like JJ McCarthy or Michael Penix is going to fall to us or whatever. And then, again, no disrespect to Bo Nix, but that's just kind of who they had to go with. Although my one thing with Bo Nix is he needs more letters in his name. I don't like that. Like, if his name was like Beaunics, I would be a lot more positive on it. But Bonix, let's add some letters into that. Come on, man.
I think we also need to point out that the Broncos, still led by John Elway, saw a tall white kid as quarterback and started salivating. So I'm sure they had their minds made up since 2019.
They've been drafting nothing but and picking nothing but tall white quarterbacks, and then Teddy Bridgewater for a year, and they're like, how about a short black quarterback with Russell Wilson? And they're like, oh, never mind, go back. Never mind.
What was the run they had? Like Tim Tebow, Brock Osweiler, Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian.
Joe Flacco was there for a year.
Case Keenum, I think they had.
Yeah, Case Keenum was there for a year. Did we already say Drew Lock?
Oh yeah, Drew Lock, yeah.
And then Teddy and Russell Wilson, and they're like, yep, never mind, we're going back.
They had Jarrett Stidham starting at the end of last year, who's now going to be Bo Nix's backup this year.
Wait, how tall is Jarrett Stidham?
Patriots legend Jarrett Stidham.
6'3".
That's decently tall.
So
tall enough.
And Bo Nix is 6'2".
Oh, okay.
So Zach Wilson 6'2".
Yeah, they're going like average height white guys now.
Yeah, worth noting, of course, Bo Nix as well as Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels have already been named starting quarterbacks for their teams. So 3 of the 6 are going to be starting week 1. Drake May might start week 1. And obviously Penix, if all goes according to plan, will be sitting out the year. So potentially 4 of these 6 guys are already going to be on the field in week 1, showing the world what they're capable of. And it should be pretty fun to see.
Yeah.
Would also like to point out later on in the first round, the Chiefs taking Xavier Worthy, because of course they did.
Okay. I can't fucking believe he fell to them. I was actually angry that they picked him and that he fell there.
Well, you know what the dumbest part about this is the fucking Bills traded them for that pick.
Yes, and the Bills needed a receiver like that because they traded Stephon Diggs.
Also, do you remember the last time the Bills traded with the Chiefs in the first round? Do you know who the Chiefs picked with that?
Fucking Mahomes.
Yeah.
The Bills do not learn their lesson.
What do you guys do?
The Raiders mentioned them a bit earlier. They took Brock Bowers, was the first tight end off the board at 13, which was a very peculiar move to make, but
yeah, great tight end name, but I think what happened was they were banking on Bo Nix or Michael Penix being there, and then they weren't, and then they're like, shit, who's next on our draft board?
Yeah. So he'll be catching balls from Gardner Minshew in week 1.
Hell yeah.
Imagine saying that a year ago. The Jags took Brian Thomas from LSU, another one of Jaden Daniels' top targets. LSU is like slowly becoming a major factory for wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like OBJ, Jarvis Landry, now Brian Thomas, Justin Jefferson, fucking I know I'm missing people. Jamar Chase, and like all that in just the last 10 years. And Malik Neighbors at 6. Like wide receiver down in the bayou now.
Yeah.
And yeah,
a couple that we jumped over, I want to point out. The first 14 were all offensive players. And a funny anecdote that happened was Chris Ballard, the Colts GM, was on the Rich Eisen show the week before that and made like kind of a jokey bet where he was like, if it's all offensive players and we get the first defensive player off the board at 15, I will be on your show every week whenever you want me to. And then sure enough, Laiatu Latu was the first defensive player taken at 15 by the Colts. And Chris Ballard was friggin' bumped because somehow he fell all the way that far.
Which is a very good pick, by the way. Might even be a steal from how that all turned out.
The Bengals also took Amarius Mims in their "Sorry, Joe Burrow, we'll protect you now" pick. The Rams took Jared Verse to be one of the many people trying to fill the void left by Aaron Donald. Also, there's a funny story. The Dolphins took a defensive end named Chop Robinson, and his nickname is Chop because he takes really choppy steps. And the first thing that the Dolphins said they were going to do was like fix that, which is like his nickname. So,
and then
that was funny.
And then the run on wide receivers to end the first round and start the second round, which is to me pretty intriguing. The Niners picking Ricky Pearsall at 31, which could end up being a Brandon Ayuk replacement, depending on how that all shakes out. The Panthers picking Xavier Legette at 32, I don't think I've ever heard somebody talk more Southern than him. Like listening to him talk is incredible, and to try to understand it, dude, it's insane. But a very talented player nonetheless, and potentially a pretty good number 2 to pair with Adam Thielen to help Bryce Young actually be better.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Chargers got Lad McConkey. Great name.
And the Bills did end up drafting a receiver. They got Keon Coleman from Florida State, who, of course, was Jordan Travis's top target last year down in the ACC. But, with Xavier Worthy sitting there at 28, I still don't understand why the Bills just didn't stay where they were and pick the top receiver still available.
Yeah, it was an odd, what's the word I'm looking for? An odd move.
Yeah. The Patriots took Jalen Polk at 37, which made me very happy. Obviously, very weak receiving core overall, and he's looked really good in the preseason so far. So, very happy with that pick. We have a white cornerback in the NFL again.
What? Yeah, Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, the Eagles took Cooper DeJean at 40 from Iowa. Shout out Austin, friend of the show.
Oh my gosh.
Another Iowa defensive player, and again, a white secondary player, and will now be starting in the NFL. Imagine that. And right behind him was probably the best name in the draft. Kool-Aid McKinstry went straight for to the Saints.
Yeah. I was just about to mention Kool-Aid McKinstry.
And he's genuinely good too. Like that could end up being a steal of a pick for the Saints.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out I think it's the Steelers, or no, it's not Steelers. Somebody has a fullback with the last name Steele in preseason right now, and I'm trying to figure out who it
that's
is.
Carson Steele on the Chiefs.
Yeah, Carson Steele. Yeah, that is the perfect fucking fullback name. Carson Steele. The Saints also took Spencer Rattler in the 5th round.
He's looked pretty decent too so far.
Yeah, I do remember. Again, I don't really watch college, but like 2.5 years ago, everybody was like, "This guy's gonna be the next thing," and then he went to South Carolina, and it didn't go well.
He kind of stunk it up at South Carolina a little bit, but he showed a lot of promise at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So if he could like regain what he had when he was still at Oklahoma, that could end up being Derek Carr's replacement, maybe before the end of the season. For all we know,
he attempted exactly 399 passes in back-to-back years with South Carolina. That's weird.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
And then one of the more intriguing picks of the draft is Adonai Mitchell from Texas falling all the way to 52, and the Colts picking him up. I still can't believe he fell that far in the draft, because I think there were like late first round projections on him.
Yeah.
So this is another one that could end up being a real one of the steals of the draft if he pans out.
Well, I was gonna say, oh, good. Sorry.
One pick before Adonai Mitchell was Zach Frazier for the Steelers, and they might be continuing their trend of getting really good centers that actually know what they're.
Nice.
Yeah, they're getting pretty good at that.
Yeah, a little bit, from Mike Webster to Kevin Green, I think, to Pouncey to this guy. Anything's better than Kendrick Green.
I do want to talk about real quick the Steelers' offensive line, specifically Broderick Jones, because they drafted him last year, and he was a left tackle in college, wasn't he?
I think. Believe so.
Yeah, and now they have him playing right tackle, and he's been really bad. It's like, I don't know, maybe shift him back over to the other side because he was really good there. Because, yeah.
Well, said left tackle or right tackle?
I think he used to be a left tackle, and now he plays right tackle.
Oh, it's because Dan Moore's at left tackle, and he fucking sucks, and they need to move him already.
What they need to do is they need to just like take all of their like play sheets and then just like flip them,
rotate them.
Yeah, just rotate it 180 degrees, and then be like, let's try this. Oh, it's working. I've been looking at it upside down this whole time.
A couple other notable picks from the draft. The Browns took Michael Hall at 54. More on him later. The Bears in the 3rd round took a tackle from Yale, which is kind of cool. Ivy League draft pick. Bengals took Jermaine Burton from Alabama at 80 in the 3rd round. Another one of Michael Penix's receivers, Jalen McMillan, he went in the 3rd round to the Bucks. Christian McCaffrey's brother Luke was drafted by the Commanders in the 3rd round from Rice, of all places.
Oh.
Patriots took Javon Baker from UCF in the 4th round, another receiver. Tez Walker, who had all the eligibility issues at North Carolina last year, he went in the 4th round to the Ravens. So that could end up being a pretty good pickup for what's been a pretty weak receiving core up in Baltimore for quite some time now. The Jets picked Braylon Allen in the 4th round, and another potentially great Wisconsin running back, because there aren't enough of those already in the NFL. Let's see.
I just found. Oh my god! Wait a second. The Saints. Oh my god! The Saints are just ruling the names category. They have a receiver named Bub Means.
What? Oh yeah, there he is. They took him from Pitt. Yeah.
Yeah. I just found. So I was just scrolling through here, and I found Muhammad Kamara, who was drafted by the Dolphins, and I was like, I wonder if he's related to Alvin Kamara. He's not, but he is the younger brother of former Temple linebacker Amara Kamara. So. Anyway,
the Jets.
Another one.
The Jets drafted a cornerback in the 5th round from the CFL named Quantez Stiggers.
I didn't want to say it.
That up.
I was waiting for one of you guys to say that one. I didn't want to say that one.
Once again, that is Stiggers.
Yeah,
he played for the Argonauts in the CFL last year, and in 2022 played for the fan-controlled football Bored Ape Football Club. We had an NFT football team.
I'm still
What
on their
the
mailing
fuck?
list.
Why are you? Wait.
Because that's when fan control football started coming
Oh,
out.
I thought you
back
were
then.
saying you were on the Bored Ape mailing list. I was like, why?
No. Remember when they did fan controlled racing and they let the fans decide the adjustments to the car?
I don't know if I remember this.
They're still doing that this year with driver votes.
Yes.
Oh my
I think
God.
it was
But they're
last
just
year at
bumping it up.
Talladega. They voted who would be in the car, and then they voted what changes they should make to the car after practice, like how much
it was
wedge they
dog
should put
shit.
in it.
All of the wedge in.
They completely fucked up the car.
All of the wedge.
NR style, negative 150.
Yeah.
And
Running
then
a COT setup.
And I think at this point, we have to mention Mr. Irrelevant every year with what Brock Purdy's done the last couple years. The very last pick of the draft, the Jets took Jalen Key out of Alabama, so we'll see if he ends up having a long, successful career like Mr. 49er guy is in line for right now.
Writing that one down.
Other notable quarterbacks mentioned earlier, the Saints picked Spencer Rattler. The Jets picked Jordan Travis, who we mentioned earlier, from Florida State. Patriots took Joe Milton from Tennessee. Ravens picked Devin Leary from Kentucky. The Packers picked Michael Pratt from Tulane. Go Green Wave. And yeah, that's about all the cool stuff from the draft.
There's also a guy that was drafted named DJ Glaze.
Awesome.
77th overall, Delmar DJ Glaze, tackle for the Raiders.
That rules. Yeah, and that was the draft. So
Yeah,
knowing us, fucking Bo Nix is gonna win a Super Bowl, and
God.
Caleb Williams is gonna flop. So
Oh, another Bears quarterback is going to go to the Steelers, huh?
Oh, not again.
God.
Not
Oh, help.
again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how's that working out so far?
Belp.
Belp.
Belp me.
And then moving on to preseason news and shit, because a lot of shit has happened in the last couple weeks even.
It's a little bit, yeah.
The Lions lost John Kaminsky to the season. He tore his MCL in practice prior to the preseason. The Cowboys lost Sam Williams for the season with a torn ACL. The Colts lost Samson Ekebom from a torn Achilles. DeAndre Hopkins is going to miss the first couple weeks of the season with a knee injury. Bad news for the Titans. Mentioned Rondale Moore earlier. He blew his knee out in practice before the preseason, so he's out for the year. And the Cardinals also cut Desmond Ridder today. So that was a 1-for-1 trade that was made a couple of months ago. Neither player is going to end up playing for their new team this year. So the Cardinals essentially traded Rondale Moore for nothing.
You love to see it.
Everybody loses this trade.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pound for pound, the worst trade in the NFL.
Yeah.
How long? This is like a couple years ago when the Penguins traded for Jamie Alexiak, and then like a year later they just traded him back for the same exact pick.
Same draft pick. Yeah.
Yes, it was the same exact draft pick.
Mentioned earlier, JJ McCarthy's going to miss this season. He tore his meniscus in the last preseason game that he played in, so it is Sam Darnold season for the Vikings.
Sam Darnold.
Darnold.
Matt Milano tore his biceps, so that's a huge loss for the middle of the Bills defense this year. Deron Bland, who led the league in interceptions last year for the Cowboys, broke his foot or has a stress fracture in it, so he's out probably 8 weeks. So, yeah, sucks for the Cowboys secondary. Hollywood Brown is going to miss some games with they called it a sternoclavicular injury, like maybe a broken collarbone or something. Sounds like it hurts.
Yeah, doesn't sound good.
The Patriots released noted sleeper agent Juju Smith-Schuster, who proceeded to go back to the fucking Chiefs for a veteran minimum deal. God damn it! Could have fucking kept Jacoby Myers on the same contract, and now he's back in Kansas City again. Probably gonna pop off like 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns because fuck you.
I feel so bad for you, Patriot fans. It's just been nothing but misery for you guys.
I mean, in terms of the era of this podcast, yeah.
Just think, there are 4-year-olds who have never seen the Patriots win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Mentioned Michael Hall a bit earlier. He was a second-round pick for the Browns out of Ohio State. He was arrested on domestic violence charges and is now on the commissioner's exempt list. So, yeah, not great.
Yeah,
there.
that was very not good.
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't seen the details of that, trigger warning on it if you decide to look it up. The Commanders signed Martavis Bryant, who tried to make a comeback. They cut him after their last preseason game. Maybe he'll try to latch on somewhere else. Mentioned, I think, on last week's show, the Patriots trading Matthew Judon to the Falcons. I'm still mad about that. That sucks. But great pickup for the Falcons, who also last week signed arguably the best remaining free agent, Justin Simmons, who I don't know how he went that long without being signed, but the Falcons picked up one of the best pass rushers in the league and the best available secondary player about 3 days apart. So big boost to the Falcons defense. The Bills released Chase Claypool because he hurt his toe. So now he's not there anymore. I don't know if he's going to continue his career anymore after this.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably like a good strategic move by the Bills because there's that stat showing like the Steelers and the Dolphins before and after signing Chase Claypool, and then they were like, "Oh shit!"
They saved themselves a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's like 3 more wins on this season already. So.
The Vikings signed Stephon Gilmore to a 1-year deal, who is another one that I couldn't believe was still a free agent this far into the offseason. But a good pickup for them at a position of need. One of the more bizarre trades that took place was the Commanders trading Jahan Dotson to the Eagles. I don't know why they did this. For a 3rd-round pick and 2 sevenths, he was only in his 3rd season. He's one of the better receivers on the team, and they flipped him to a division rival because ?
Yeah, I think
that one.
they just looked at it like because I think they have a pretty big like set of like decent receivers. So I guess that's it. Yeah, because they have Jameson Crowder still there, Luke McCaffrey, Terry McLaurin, Byron Pringle, Olamide Zaccheaus. So I guess they looked at him as like their 5th or even 6th guy, even though he's like still pretty good. It's strange though.
Yeah, Panthers and Seahawks did a 1-for-1. Michael Barrett to the Seahawks. Michael Jackson, no, not that one, to the Panthers. The Falcons.
Do I still have them every Michael Jackson grunt on my soundboard? Please tell me.
Oh God.
I don't.
The Falcons were not done on defense though. They also signed cornerback AJ Terrell to a massive 4-year extension. One of the breakout corners in the league, with them for another 4 years. Good news for them. Speaking of massive extensions, the Chiefs gave one to their starting center, Creed Humphrey, who's probably one of the best centers in the NFL. Well-deserved extension, protecting Patrick Mahomes. And the CeeDee Lamb holdout is over. He is now the 2nd highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL, as the Cowboys gave him $136 million over 4 years. And he also got the largest signing bonus ever given to a wide receiver.
Wait, who's the highest paid then?
The highest paid non-quarterback?
I believe it's Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I think it was Jefferson's extension.
Oh, that's
right. Yeah, Jefferson. Right. I think CeeDee Lamb's is like $4 million lower than his. Yeah.
You know, give it till the end of the year. It might be Jamar Chase.
But, yeah.
We need to continue this trend of mid-ass shit resetting the market like Daniel Jones did, though.
God. Yeah, we're paying Trevor Lawrence $255 million. Like, what are we doing? The Titans traded Malik Willis to the Packers for a 7th-round pick next year. So pretty much solidifies that Will Levis is that dude.
He's looked good in preseason, too. So
he did.
Yeah.
The Chad Ryland era with the Patriots is over. Thank fucking Christ.
The Chad Ryland era is spelled ERROR.
End of an error. The starting kicker for the Patriots is now Joey Sly.
Hell yeah.
We're vibing, I think, maybe. I mentioned earlier they also cut Bailey Zappi, so it'll be Zappy Holidays somewhere else this year.
God damn it.
God damn it.
The Rams traded Ernest Jones to the Titans for a 5th-round pick. They gave him permission to seek a trade the other day. They couldn't get a contract done, so now he's a Titan, which bolsters their defense, which already looked pretty damn good to start this season.
I love that we still have young men in 2024 named Ernest.
That's real.
We need
it's a good
Earl
name.
back as well.
One of the funnier transactions, at least to me this week, is the Chiefs releasing Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Another.
You say that, but the Patriots need a wide receiver.
Shut the fuck up.
The Steelers do too.
Yeah, they do.
Man. No, they're gonna get Martavis Bryant back.
Oh God. Yeah, the Steelers.
Remember, he was really good in 2015. You guys.
We're building the best team of 2018. What more could you want?
The Broncos cut Samaje Perine and Tim Patrick, who already is on the Lions practice squad. That one sucked because Tim Patrick showed a lot of promise with the Broncos 2 years ago, and then has had back-to-back season-ending injuries before the season even started. So hopefully he can latch on and try to revive his career. The Cowboys sent Peyton Hendershot packing to the Chiefs for a 7th-round pick in 2026.
God, that's a tight end name.
Travis Kelce's new understudy, I guess.
Yeah.
AJ Dillon hurt his neck. He's out for the year, which fucking sucks.
Yeah, especially because they oh my God, they just let Aaron Jones walk too.
Yeah. Well, they got Josh Jacobs, but very big AJ Dillon fan over here. So sucks to see that happen.
Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell also out for the year. Another one that sucks because when he's healthy, he's pretty damn good, but he's like never healthy. So, mentioned earlier already, the Cardinals cut Desmond Ridder, which is pretty fucking funny. So, Kyler Murray's backup will continue to be Clayton Tune. And then some guys still on the PUP list, which means they're going to miss at least the first 4 games of the year. Kendrick Bourne, Cole Strange, TJ Hawkinson, Nick Chubb, OBJ, Cole Holcomb, Dre Greenlaw, and Tyler Higbee. So some pretty big names on there that are not going to be available for a while to start the year.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot OBJ was on the Dolphins.
So did I. I looked it up earlier and I was like, when the fuck did that happen? The Commanders got a new naming rights deal. It is no longer FedEx Field. It's now Northwest Field, which, sure, man, you're in the Mid-Atlantic.
Ironically, in the northeast of the U.S.
Yeah. And then also with the Commanders, the whole Sean Taylor, whatever that thing was called, debacle is seemingly going to be
Which
fixed.
one? You've got to be way more specific.
Well, yeah. The last memorial type thing they built for him, which everybody ridiculed like 2 years ago, and they took it down and
wire
it's
frame
somewhere. But
the memorial mannequin.
Yeah.
That had soccer cleats on.
But they're
or was it when they named the street after him and they had a line of porta potties right next to it? Or the Sean Taylor doll that they released that was just like generic black man that didn't even look like him.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
They're gonna build an actual proper statue of him this time. Hopefully they do it right and it doesn't look like shit.
I was gonna say, especially because Dan Snyder isn't involved, that this is very much like, hey, the last guy fucked it up really bad and we're gonna do something proper for this guy now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that gives me hope.
Yeah, hopefully the Commanders, like, regardless of what they do on the field at this point, hopefully they can finally start to rid themselves of the stink that was Dan Snyder and properly honor their past players and shit. So good on them for doing that. Hopefully they do it right. And then lastly, I don't know why this happened, but the NFL owners approved a new measure that will allow partial ownership of teams by private equity firms.
Oh, you know why that happened.
I can't wait for a hedge fund to buy into the Jets and bleed them fucking dry. I need it to fucking happen.
Somebody's gonna do the Red
funny.
Lobster thing and lease the stadium back to the Jets.
God!
I hope you guys are ready for the Enron Packers.
The Enron. I need that shit.
Oh, when are the Saudis getting a football team? Who's it gonna be?
No.
Well, they already got a golf league. I wouldn't put it past them.
I'm trying to think of which one would be most likely to be sold soon. Because they dodged a bullet with the commies.
Isn't what's her face on the Bears like 1,000,000 years old?
Oh,
She's
yeah,
like
I think.
100.
Yeah, and they are trying to get a new stadium built.
Oh no.
Yeah, quick tangent. We've talked about it before.
Dubai Bears.
But God, shout out to them for just making Soldier Field look like a fucking dumpster. Just like Soldier Field had such a cool, historic kind of look to it, and it is just one of the ugliest fucking buildings I've ever seen now.
But
The
what
fact
if
that
we
they
built
fucked
a
it up,
spaceship?
they fucked it up so bad that they took it off the historical places list.
Yeah,
Like that should tell you something's wrong.
That's impressively bad.
The U.S. government's like, man, you guys fucked up.
Couple other notable things that happened. A few months ago, Reggie Bush finally got his fucking Heisman Trophy back.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Never should have lost it to begin with, but they're like, yeah, hey, with all the new stuff we did now, what you did then would not have been wrong now, so here's your trophy back. So, yeah. And then the NFL also introduced Guardian caps this year, which it's like a new, I guess, a safer design for helmets. And a couple guys have already worn them. They look kind of goofy, but they seem to work.
They've used them in like training camp for the last few years, and then this year they've basically okayed that players, if they want, they can wear them in game.
I think Jonathan Taylor's one of the ones that's wearing them now.
If you go back to hang on, let me find a picture of it. I think it's called like the Pro Capper or something like that. It was like this little foam cap that you could put over your helmet that a couple guys in the 90s wore. It looks extremely fucking goofy. Let's see if I can find a picture of it. That'll be in the thumbnail. Yeah, here it is. But it's basically the next iteration of that. So yeah, there's one guy on the Bills.
Oh my
and
God.
one guy on the 49ers who wore them in the 90s. So
I mean, that doesn't look that bad.
It looks better than the Pro or than the Guardian thing though, because it's like team colored and it's smooth.
Yeah.
Oh
God! I just saw Jonathan Taylor. So
it's kind of like chunky. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got like a stretch cover over it. Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously not gonna ridicule anybody for taking measures to protect themselves because I've had a concussion before, and I can tell you it fucking sucked.
Don't blame him one bit, but it does look kind of funny.
Yeah, but it looks extremely goofy. So
I can't get over the fact that they basically have to stretch a shower cap over a football helmet now.
Yeah.
That is disgusting. It's lumpy.
I mean, people have been saying bring back leather helmets, and they're like, okay, well, we'll put it on the outside of the helmets. So,
God. And then
I will. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Now you go.
Unbelievable.
I was gonna say the Chargers ones actually look pretty good with the number on the side. It's not as noticeable.
It's fine for safety, but they're still ugly.
Yeah, we're gonna make fun of you, but I'm also happy for you.
But good on you too.
Yeah.
It's like looking at the Halo or the Arrow screen these days.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And then lastly, one of our favorite segments, our WTF or What the Football Moment of the Week. We're so fucking back with this. The Chargers were in Dallas to play the Cowboys in their final preseason game. And while they were inside their hotel, one of the elevators broke with a bunch of the players in it, and Justin Herbert was among the players that were inside the elevator. So they had to crawl out of the ceiling panel to escape the elevator and to get back like on the floor and shit. And it's like, We're not even in the season yet, and we already got goofy ass shit like this going on.
Is this not the most Jim Harbaugh shit that's ever? Like Jim Harbaugh comes, he's like, "All right, we're gonna do Mission Impossible shit. We're gonna escape out of an elevator. That's gonna make us a
on
better
brand
football
for the
team."
Chargers, though.
So
It's very
building
Chargers
teamwork,
coded.
like the Sean McDermott 9/11 stuff.
yeah, or like, do you remember that time a bunch of players locked Jeff Francoeur in a fucking bathroom, and then he escaped through the ceiling? Have you guys heard the clip of Jim Harbaugh talking about this, by the way?
I have not.
It is the funniest shit I've heard in a hot minute, because Jim Harbaugh, like, he can't talk about anything without like full enthusiasm and like without being dead serious about it. And so he's talking about this, and he says, he's like, yeah, there are about 14 men and he stutters for like 10 seconds before he remembers the word women.
He's just like me, for real.
Yeah, and then he's talking about like how sweaty everybody was, and he was like, "Yeah, Justin Herbert, his hair was all wet, but his shirt was totally dry, so that was pretty cool." It's one of the most unhinged things I've ever heard, and I fucking love it. I'll have to find the clip of it. Maybe I'll put it in post. Yeah, Chargers are already in mid-season form, though.
Yes, they are. And lastly, before we get to pick thems, we get to try to predict who wins every division and what the Super Bowl matchup will be.
Did we go over the Dalvin Cook thing?
No,
I don't think we did.
Dalvin Cook thing?
He visited with the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah. Let's get another old running back.
And the Steelers also
have the most washed up running back room ever.
Steelers also signed Boston Scott to their practice squad.
Bastions, yeah.
Eagles legend.
So yeah, let's all go. We'll go division by division. We'll see who all you guys have. We'll start with the AFC East. You got?
I'm gonna go with the Bills here again.
Bills.
Yeah, I got the Bills as well. The Dolphins, as weird as their offseason's been, the Bills are still the Bills, and the Dolphins need to learn how to play in cold weather.
Although I am interested to see how the Jets do if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy for more than 4 snaps.
If he completes a pass, then I'm in.
No,
he's gonna do it again.
No, Jets fans need to know their place. They're gonna finish in third again, and they're gonna like it. And they're gonna miss the playoffs again.
They're gonna be asking for Zach Wilson back.
Yup. It doesn't even matter if Aaron Rodgers completes the season or not. The Jets are not making the playoffs, and you can mark my fucking words on that.
Let me write that one down.
Okay, if you say so.
The AFC North.
Oh, yes. 4 hobos fighting in a phone booth. Ravens are going to win that one. Steelers are going to finish, I think I'm going to say 10-7 this season instead of 9-8.
That's the thing. They can't lose. They can't lose games. They'll find a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I think if Joe Burrow's healthy, they win it.
All 4 of these teams are good enough to make the playoffs when healthy and when they're playing at their best. Like we saw last year, the Bengals became the first team in 80 years to be above 500 while finishing in last place.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first time in the history of the 4-division realignment era that all 4 teams had winning records.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are due for a rebound as long as Burrow plays for the entire year. I'm going to pick the Bengals tentatively, but if Burrow goes down at any point, I think this is the Ravens division that they can go and take. I don't think Cleveland's going to have as good of a year as they did last year, but you never know. But yeah, I'm going with the Bengals for now.
I was going to say, I do want to talk about the Browns a little bit because I don't know if you guys have heard anything about what's going on with Deshaun Watson, but apparently his shoulder is just mush right now.
I'm not surprised.
Like what happened last year, which knocked him out, is they were basically like, yeah, if you throw another football, your arm's gonna fall off, is basically what they said, and it's apparently not healed very well, and you still don't have Nick Chubb back, and the chances of that defense remaining as good as it did from last year, not very high, especially with like how Myles Garrett's season tailed off last year. I would expect a return to mediocrity by the Browns this year, and that's not just the spiteful part of me speaking.
So
Good.
what you're telling me is that Jameis Winston will be starting by week 3.
You're goddamn right.
If that
All right.
Hey, maybe I'll actually root for them then.
couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Yep.
Yeah, because I got to be honest, I don't think Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a long-term solution for them. And Jameis, I think, just with his arm cannon alone, is going to be worth throwing in there instead.
Yeah, he just brings goofy vibes to football.
And
He
crab
does.
legs.
He's an air of whimsy.
You cannot tell the story of the NFL without Jameis Winston, and I hope he can add another chapter to that this year.
Hell yeah. The AFC South.
Who plays in this division again?
The Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tennessee Titans, and who's the fourth team? The Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts.
Yes. I forgore.
Honestly, straight up, this is another division like the North where I could see any of these 4 teams winning it.
Yeah, I think the Texans are the favorite, and I've picked them, but I could very well see the Jaguars bouncing back. I think people forget that the Jags were 8-3 and were a quarter away from beating the Bengals and becoming the number 1 seed, and then Trevor Lawrence got his ankle rolled up on, and then that's when their whole season fell apart.
I think the Titans are going to be a lot better than people think they're going to be too.
Yeah, they've made a lot of really big moves in the offseason. The Titans could be sneaky. And the Colts, if Anthony Richardson stays healthy, like
that could be it. They won 9 games without him.
Yeah, they were, an incomplete pass away from knocking off the Texans and making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Texans are the favorite, especially with all the moves they made in the offseason, but I think any of these 4 teams could win it.
Yeah. It's hard to go against the Texans right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to pick the Texans too. I think talent-wise they added more than anybody else, but the AFC South always has a way to just fuck around and do weird shit, so you never know.
Yeah. The AFC West.
Oh, yes. The Kansas City Chiefs Invitational.
Yeah, we do not need to give this one any thought. It is the Chiefs.
C and AFC stands for Chiefs.
No, actually, the Broncos are going to do it with Bo Nix.
Actually, I don't think you guys are ready for the Gardner Minshew home playoff game, so...
Okay, but that would hit like crack if it happens. I would not be opposed to that at all.
I was extremely tempted to pencil them in as the third wild card.
the Antonio Pierce Gardner Minshew home tandem is going to be incredible.
I was going to say, as much as I love the Gardner Minshew Antonio Pierce team up, just that Devontae Adams trade deadline trade is going to hit like crack. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another couple of years at least before somebody knocks off the Chiefs in this division.
Yeah, especially because 2 of the teams are in various states of rebuild, and the third team, the Raiders, are just kind of freestyling. So
they're just kind of doing whatever at this point.
Yeah, I mean their defense is going to be really fucking good, but yeah, it's going to come down to offense really. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement of the Chiefs. What are your wild cards? I guess I'll start with my 3 because I did prepare them. Because I have the Bengals winning the North. I still put the Ravens in, put the Dolphins in, and the Jaguars.
I agree with you with the Ravens. I agree with you with Miami. Ooh, that third one.
It's tough. Yeah.
I am going to go out on a limb here. And I'm going to say first-year head coach, first year as the full starter. You're going to see the Tennessee Titans as the third wild card team.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
We ball.
I say Dolphins, Colts, Steelers, because the Steelers always find a way.
Might as well just rename the 7 seed to the Steelers seed.
Steelers go to the Super Bowl anyway, so
they are gone to the Super Bowl.
Also, personal prediction, I fully think the Patriots are going to be last in the AFC East again, but I think they're going to win more games than last year.
Yeah,
I hope not.
I think we might hit 5 this time.
I hope not.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. The NFC, starting with the East.
Who
So,
won the?
I don't
want
want to
to
pick any of these teams.
The Cowboys won it last year. So last
so it
year
won't
I
be
said
them.
the Eagles would not win because it was their second year in a row, and the Cowboys were not going to win because they were too good for too many years in a row, and I predicted the Commies. I was half right about that because the Cowboys did end up winning it. But this year it's going to go back to the Eagles. So
Yeah, the Eagles are the Cowboys lost a considerable amount of talent this offseason. The Eagles are on paper the best team in this division, and I think they're going to win the division. I think the Cowboys could still make the playoffs, but I think it's honestly the NFC East is always a stupid one to pick, but I think this might be one of the easier ones to pick in recent memory, where I think Philly's going to run away with it.
I don't believe in Philly. I'm gonna say Dallas.
ooh, breaking the curse.
I think Philly just continues to fall apart, and as they go through the regular season, the bottom's just gonna fall out.
That'd be funny.
It would be funny. The Commies are a pretty good sleeper pick too. I was tempted to take them, but I didn't.
Honestly, with the new regime, I don't think that's a terrible leg to stand on at all.
Yeah. The NFC North. I'm going with the Lions.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think we're going to have the Lions repeating as division champions.
Yeah.
Now, now if the Packers, the way they played the last 5 or 6 weeks last year, if they do that over a full season, that might be a Super Bowl potential team. But I still think the Lions right now are more talented and are a more complete team, and I still think they're going to end up winning it.
Yeah, agreed.
As much as I love the Lions, I think the Packers are gonna win the North.
Boo!
They've done it again. They've landed on another star quarterback.
We were free from them for about 6 weeks, and then
I think the Bears could be a sleeper wild card pick, though.
yeah,
if Caleb Williams gels immediately, definitely.
I was considering putting him as a wild card. I didn't, but I was thinking about it.
But it would be even funnier if they didn't. Although, now that I think about it, this is all a moot point because the Vikings are going to win with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's true. I need to make that meme now, the Jeb one, but it's all Darnold. That's going to be in the thumbnail. Hang on. Yeah. The NFC South.
Tampa. I believe in Baker.
Dewey.
This one, man, if Kirk Cousins plays the way he did to start last season, I think it could be the Falcons. But we're not, like, until I can see how he's going to be recovering from that Achilles injury, I'm going to go with what I've seen and what I know, and I'm going to pick the Bucs to repeat. But if he can find that MVP form again, it would not shock me if the Falcons win like 11 games.
Yeah, I originally had the Falcons as my division champs, but I think I'm going to switch it to the Bucs. I think that even with the loss of Dave Canales, their new offensive coordinator was also a guy who worked with Baker in LA.
Was it Liam Cohen?
I believe so, yeah. And they did a lot of good stuff together, so I think they will be either on par with what they're not going to have those teething troubles that they had in some of their bad offensive games. Yes, I'm actually going to switch it to the Bucs. And finally, the NFC West.
I mean, is this really a question?
Rams are pretty good last year.
I was going to say picking the Rams is a little tempting.
But they just lost their best player defense probably ever.
I'm going to pick the 49ers, but all it takes is a Brandon Ayuk trade actually happening or a Christian McCaffrey injury to potentially put the Rams in its spot to steal it.
Not to mention Super Bowl loss hangover.
Yeah, never know.
I'm still going with the 49ers, but there is a case, I think, for the Rams.
Worth mentioning, they also still have the Trent Williams holdout going on.
Yeah, that too.
I don't think the Rams are going to get over the Aaron Donald loss in just one season. No matter what you do, you can't replace him in one season.
Oh, yeah. No. I mean, you're replacing a first ballot Hall of Famer. You don't just do that overnight, ever.
Yeah.
Well, you can.
they've kind of taken an approach of replacing him with a bunch of guys and trying to see if they can get the production from Jared Verse and a bunch of the other guys they've acquired. But yeah, that is a very large hole right in the middle of their front seven. So
Almost got Moneyball vibes to it.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
which is really funny considering what the Rams used to be.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm picking the Niners for now.
Yeah, I will also be sticking with the Niners. And finally, your wild cards.
Lions, Niners, Falcons. Or Lions, Rams, Falcons.
I'm going to go Packers, Rams, and let's see. The toss-up for me between the Cowboys and the Falcons. But I think with how good of an offseason the Falcons had and with how weak of an offseason the Cowboys had, I think the Cowboys are going to miss the playoffs and the Falcons will be the last team in.
I like that we all have the same 7 teams because my wild cards are Rams, Packers, Falcons. And so, like, Steven and I have the same picks except we swapped Lions and Packers. And that was our predictions. Can't wait for these all to age horribly and the Cardinals to win the NFC.
Also, potential hot take, the Panthers are finishing ahead of the Saints this year.
That's a pretty hot take.
I can see it. I don't think the Saints are going to be very good.
I think the Saints are going to suck. I really do.
Who do we think is going to get the number 1 pick in the draft?
Well, this is tough.
See, this one actually is kind of tough because the Commanders should be better. The Bears should be considerably better. I think the Cardinals should be better.
The Giants are going to be bad.
Honestly, I'm leaning Giants too here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a toss-up between the Giants and the Patriots.
I think it's been a while since we've had a team just bottom out and be completely shit.
You mean like the Panthers last year?
Yeah, but like more.
I think this is one of those seasons where the Patriots could go 5-12 and get the number 1 pick. I don't. Just a gut feeling I have.
Yeah.
You know what?
Potentially
put me down.
The
Bears are doing it again.
That'd be really fucking funny. I don't know what to think of the Seahawks. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up falling to the floor and sucking ass and finishing behind the Cardinals. Not saying it's a guarantee, but I don't think they're that great as currently constructed. So I think the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Patriots are the 4 most likely teams that could get it. One of those 4. But if you put a gun to my head right now and maybe pick one of those 4, I'm picking the Giants.
And finally, your Super Bowl matchup.
Oh boy.
So Chiefs versus who? Actually, no. This is the year they slayed a dragon. I'm going Bills, Packers.
Ooh,
that would be disgusting.
That would be the most toxic Super Bowl of all time, and I need it. I need that so
dude, imagine Jack and Weaver yelling at each other during that entire game. Good God.
I'm gonna say the Bills slay the Dragon in the divisional round, and then they lose to the Bengals in the AFC title game.
You read my mind.
It'll be Bengals versus oh shit, who do I want from the NFC? Maybe a Bengals Niners rematch. I could see that.
I could see that.
Let's see.
A little cliche, but I get it.
Fuck it, Browns Bucks Baker revenge game.
Fuck yeah.
Steelers go to Super Bowl, obviously.
Yeah, Steelers Niners. One of those is my actual pick. Figure it out.
Maybe a bit controversial. I think mine has the highest chance of being wrong, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Lions over Ravens.
That'd be pretty good too.
I could see that working.
That was my earlier this week pick, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna they gotta prove me wrong first. So
now I don't know if that's gonna be the Ravens if they're gonna have to beat the Chiefs or not, but I think this might finally be the year that the Ravens figure it the fuck out and at least get back to the Super Bowl even if they don't win it.
Hope so.
Yeah.
All right.
And
that. Oh, good.
yeah, no, that's it.
And finally, everyone's favorite segment, the world's only gender-neutral football pick show. It's Pick They Thems.
Yeah.
Unironically, that's my favorite change that we've made to the show, is that name change.
It's a good one. I enjoy it.
And we'll start Thursday night kickoff, AFC title
Wait,
game rematch.
What I don't understand is if it's outside the binary, then why are we still picking one or the other?
You can pick a tie.
Yeah,
I
picked
have
ties before.
But
Yeah.
if you're outside the binary, then you would have to pick ties all the time.
The three genders. Ravens, Chiefs, and tie.
Sounds like you're tie-sexual.
Actually, there's 33
Shut up,
genders now that I
fruit.
think about it.
At least 3.
34 if you count the fans. That's been a pick.
Ravens versus Chiefs. Give me the Patriots.
I need to
It's
modify.
The Patriots cashing in the money in the bank.
It's the joke I made.
It's
like
Robert
the first
Kraft
season.
with the steel chair.
Wait, who's that? It's the Calgary Stampeders. I need to modify the sheet.
Ravens, by the way.
I need to modify the sheet so I can put in the fans as an option. I'm
the
gonna
sickos at home.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are gonna be pissed off and they're gonna roll into Arrowhead and take down the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs are gonna do all that shit with unveiling their banner and giving out the rings and shit, and then the Ravens are gonna say, "Yeah, fuck all you guys," and they're gonna win by about 15.
The Lions did it to him last year, so
They did.
yeah. So we're Ravens across the board. That's wild. Then Friday night, you're going to Brazil.
No!
It's Packers
Packers
versus Eagles.
Give me the Packers.
I'm gonna say I'll go Eagles just to be contrarian.
I can't wait to see what the uniform matchup for this game ends up being, since that stadium bans the color green.
Do they really?
Yeah. They take that shit serious in Brazil.
I was gonna say, well, both of these teams, their colors are, you combine them and it's just the Brazilian flag.
So this is the most Brazilian matchup you can think of. So
Yeah.
I shouldn't have any problem with it.
I feel like the Packers will probably do their road whites with maybe black numbers instead of green or some shit, and the Eagles will wear their black jerseys.
That is a really bizarre thing I did not know about. Then we're kicking off Sunday afternoon. Steelers at Falcons. Arthur Smith revenge game.
And for that reason alone, give me the Steelers.
Steelers.
They are going to the Super Bowl.
I don't know if they're going to start Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. But you know what? I'm taking the fucking Steelers anyway.
I will be taking. I'm going to take the Falcons.
Okay.
Got a couple sheeple over here, picking in unison.
Okay.
Cardinals at Bills. The temptation to take the Cardinals just to piss off Jack.
I know, I'm thinking about it.
No, but this has honestly kind of trap game feel to it.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
I'm gonna take the Bills, but it's interesting.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals here. I think the Bills lost their best skill position player this offseason. Their receiving core isn't all that great. They're probably still pissed off about how last year ended, and they're going to be facing a team in Week 1 that wasn't great last year, but I think we could see the beginning of what could be a great career for Marvin Harrison in this game, and the Cardinals are going to fuck around and take it.
I'll take the Bills because they have Josh Allen.
Yeah, that is true. Titans at Bears.
Ooh, this could go either way.
Yeah.
Are they in Chicago?
They're in Chicago.
Ooh.
This might be the most intriguing game of the week, to be totally honest.
Go Bears.
I'm gonna take
I'm not picking the Bills.
Bears. I'm going Chicago.
I think I'm gonna take the Titans.
Ooh, made me big boy.
I think Mayo Man's gonna lead them to the
Well,
promised
hang
land.
on, you got to be more specific because Mayo Man could also be the head coach of the next matchup.
Yes.
Oh, Will Levis, the Mayo Man.
Okay.
Will Levis is a poser. Fuck you.
Miracle Whip Man.
No. Miracle
That tang
Whip,
is
bro.
patience.
You know that little tang? You know what that is? Patience.
Patient.
Mayonnaise doesn't go bad. It just becomes Miracle Whip. Patriots at Bengals.
Bengals by 74.
I'm gonna lock the Bengals.
The
Yeah, I
Bengals
forgot we
are
do
winning
that.
No, all right, no. The Bengals are absolutely winning this game by a minimum of 20 points, but I'm keeping up my tradition of picking the Patriots every game regardless.
I appreciate your dedication to the craft.
Yeah. But no, they're absolutely not fucking winning. No fucking way.
Week 18 rematch. Texans at Colts.
Colts.
Texans.
That's spicy. I'll go with the Texans as well. Yeah. Battle of Florida Man. Jaguars at Dolphins.
Miami.
This one's tough because it's two teams that ended really disappointingly and are both looking to just come out of the gate swinging.
I'm
I
gonna
think
have
the
to
top-
take the Jags.
I think the top end talent for the Dolphins is just too good for this one.
Oh man, I want to take the Jags so bad, but my gut's
Jags
telling
win
me
games
Dolphins.
like this.
I gotta
They
go
do,
with the
I
Dolphins,
don't
but
think
I'm
they're
not
gonna
happy
this
about
one.
it. Panthers at Saints.
Do we have
Tie.
to?
I'm gonna pick a tie.
I was considering tying this one too. I was thinking about it.
I'm gonna pick the Panthers.
I guess I'll take the Saints just for karmic balance, so we have all three options against each other because I like when that happens.
This might be the most disgusting game of the season, let alone the week.
Yeah,
Good thing they
nobody's
have
gonna
to
win
do it
that
again later in the year.
one. Yeah. Vikings at Giants.
I'm gonna be locking the Vikings.
Oh fuck.
This
I
is
believe in
another
Sam
one.
Darnold.
This is another one that could end up being really disgusting.
I like that we already have our first like specific person plus team bit of the season.
We're
Because
not even through week one
for
yet.
what
Last
it's
year it
worth,
was me with the commies. This year it's Steven with the Vikings.
the Vikings have Sam Darnold, but they still have Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, you can just kind of throw it vaguely in the direction of Justin Jefferson and he'll get it.
yeah.
You're basically just playing fetch, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Vikings, but this game has like 10-6 written all over it.
Sam Darnold's going to roll for another touchdown.
God.
I'm also going to be taking the Vikings. So Raiders at Chargers. Now,
Ooh.
remember the last time they played? What
I
if it
gotta
happened
go with
again?
The Raiders.
I think I'm gonna pick the Raiders in this one. It will not be 63-21, but the Raiders are gonna win.
I think that the Chargers are going to want to make a statement with their first game under Harbaugh, and I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Yeah, they're gonna make a statement by losing.
Yeah. Broncos at Seahawks. Russell Wilson revenge. Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's just the Russell Wilson Bowl now.
Yeah. Like, oh man, you guys got rid of Russell Wilson too? Hell yeah.
This is another game that has 10-6 energy, but I'm taking the Seahawks.
Geno season comes early this year, Seahawks.
Okay, I'm taking the Broncos. I believe in Bonix.
You're hooked on Bonix?
I still have a hard time picking Sean Payton in anything, though.
Yeah.
Except if it's an asshole challenge.
Seattle's first game without Pete Carroll, and God knows how long. I think that's going to affect that team more than people think.
I don't think they're going to be good, but I don't think the Broncos are going to be good either.
Well,
baby.
it's just whoever's least bad.
This is the Matt Fandom Bowl right here.
It's the bowl of teams that I don't really want to root for anymore. Cowboys at Browns. See, here's the thing. I'm kind of spite not rooting for the Cowboys this year, but I haven't picked the Browns since 2021, so I gotta go with the Cowboys. No, fuck it. Tie. I'm gonna tie.
I don't know what to think about this game because
I'm fucking sick of both of these teams.
I'm taking the Cowboys so I can leave Dewey with the Browns.
I'm not doing that shit.
Oh.
I don't know what I'm doing yet. Like, the Cowboys again got
God,
considerably worse on paper, but like Deshaun Watson has a fucking piece of penne for a fucking throwing arm, so like I don't really know where to go here. And they're not gonna have Nick Chubb.
The Browns is the Browns.
They should have a good defense still, and I'm leaning in the direction where their defense is going to be enough to somehow fuck around and win them this game. Amari Cooper revenge game, go Browns.
all right. Oh, I forgot about that
Disgusting.
element of it too. Commies at Bucks. The two longest names.
Locking the Buccaneers.
Oh,
Ooh,
spicy.
spicy.
Fucking
We
hate it
ball.
here. I will also be taking the Bucks.
Yeah, give me Tampa.
Sunday night, Rams at Lions. Oh, I can't wait to watch this game.
I think
This is
no
gonna be a
matter who
fun
wins
one.
this game, it's gonna be a hell of a game.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know if I ever said this, but like last year when these two teams met in the playoffs, like I feel like 99 times out of 100, if Matt Stafford goes back into Ford Field, he is welcomed with like loving embrace by the fans. But that game was the one exception where it was like, Matt, we still love you, but this is our fucking time now.
Fuck you for today and today only.
Yeah. So I think the Matt Stafford reception will be a lot more positive when the Rams roll into Detroit. God, I think I'm gonna go with the Lions again, but I could see this game going either way because god damn it, Matt Stafford was good in that game.
He was, but the Rams not having Aaron Donald is gonna fucking hurt. Like,
Yeah.
I think their defense is gonna figure it out and figure out how to fill that gap by the end of the year. But I think over the first couple weeks they're gonna have a noticeable drop in defensive play, especially in the middle, and I think that's gonna affect them and give the Lions the win in week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a Lions.
And
I
finally,
can't help but agree.
Monday night, Jets at 49ers.
Jets.
Fellas, we have the potential for the funniest thing possible to happen. Because last year, who was it who tackled Aaron Rodgers and tore his Achilles? I can't remember
Leonard
his name.
Floyd, I think.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd was on the Buffalo Bills, playing on Monday night of the season opener. Guess what team Leonard Floyd is now on?
He's on
It's
the
on the
Niners.
fucking Niners.
The San Francisco 49ers.
I was very, very tempted to lock the Niners in this game, but there's gonna be I can't explain it, but like the Niners have pretty much owned Aaron Rodgers in the last
I was
like
going to mention that.
7 or 8 years.
His whole
He's a
career, Aaron Rodgers has never beat the 49ers in a playoff game.
Yeah, and like
He's like 0-4 against them.
And he's in the same boat as Kirk Cousins, where he's 35 plus, coming off a torn Achilles. You truly don't know what you're going to get. I'm going to pick the Niners, but this game has fucking sicko energy written all over it. There could be some really funny shit that happens.
See, this is the thing, right? Everything in my head points to the Jets winning this because it's like 49ers Super Bowl loss hangover. And you have the Jets who want to put everything that happened last year behind them and want to come out of the gates swinging. And a lot of things line up for it, except for one thing, and that's they're the New York Jets. And so for that reason, I will be taking the 49ers. But I am ready to be wrong about this one.
Well, the Niners are going to be...
Jets.
Ugh, disgusting. Never do that again. The Niners aren't going to have Dre Greenlaw in this game. They might not have Trent Williams for this game. They might not have Brandon Ayuk for this game. But the Jets also have that Hassan Reddick thing sitting over them still.
Yeah,
that's going to really hurt them on defense. And again, the whole thing with like Aaron Rodgers is still a top 10 quarterback in the history of the NFL, but he's fucking 40 years old, coming off a torn Achilles. He could suck ass the whole season. We just don't know it yet. So, as much as the Niners have some holes to fill, they're still one of the most talented teams in the NFL, and I think it'll be enough for them to win.
The Jets have Tyrod Taylor behind Aaron Rodgers. Don't forget that. I think Rodgers is going to get hurt again, and then Tyrod Taylor is going to lead them to victory over the Niners.
It's going to be the reverse.
Extremely funny.
The reverse of what normally happens for Tyrod Taylor, because he always gets hurt and replaced by a future Hall of Famer. And now the opposite's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
speaking of that, wait until Drew Lock is starting for the Giants by week 3.
Oh God.
That
was pick they thems. God, I can't believe we have football this week.
We made it. We're back.
About fucking time.
We are so fucking back. Any other things to add on before we wrap this bitch up?
Did OJ do it?
Oh no, did he?
Better tune in next week to find out.
Quick shout out as well to Georgia Tech, real quick. We already have college football back as well, started this past Saturday, and Florida State came into the game ranked number 10 to start the year, and Georgia Tech said fuck all that noise and knocked them off, and that was really fucking funny.
Also,
so
where
shout
was
out
that?
Haynes King.
That's in Ireland, by the way.
Yeah, in Ireland. So Georgia Tech currently leads the ACC, and they're undefeated in the country of Ireland.
You ever take a 7-hour flight for an ass whooping?
Yep. And they get to fly, and Florida State gets to fly home and play Bill O'Brien's Boston College Eagles.
Oh,
I can't fucking wait.
Football.
Football's back, baby.
It is.
Else is back. Oofsides here on Track and Turf. If you want to hear more from me, Fake Racers Podcast, going up Tuesdays. Pretty sure we record on Mondays. Goes up on Tuesdays. I'm not in charge of uploading. Maverick Cup Series also on Tuesdays. May or may not see people that you recognize from the Track and Turf family on there. All sorts of other streaming that Joe's doing. And of course, just keep listening to Oofsides. Because we have a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah.
And Dewey and Steven's social and my own socials will be linked below. And we'll see you next time.
Oh, one more thing. Colorado and Deion Sanders are going 3-9. You heard it here first.
2-10.
Numbers. We'll see you next
number
time.
one.
Matty, play the outro music. Get us out of here. I'm desperately trying to end this episode.
No, where's the fucking button?
By the way, I lost the game.
Fuck off!
I also want to point out, Joe told me last week, he was like, yeah, Davey was like, try to make an episode that's not 2 hours. And Joe was like, how about under an hour? I'm like, well, we're under 2, so...
It's not happening.
Yeah, that's not Oofsides, baby.
That's not number one.
The people demand it!
We're an hour and 57 minutes.
Oh, okay, we gotta end the podcast now. Okay, bye!